Welcome to Repum Group's Item 24, where we take you a step beyond the standard FDD. We asked ourselves, why stop at 23 items when some of the most important insights live beyond the page? Here we're breaking down the inner workings of franchising and sharing real-life strategies and stories that drive the industry forward. Welcome back to a Item 24 session, and I am excited. I have one of my favorite, as I say, founders on our call today. I say that about all the founders, to be clear, Josh, but I have to say that. I can't treat any of your kids differently, right? But no, seriously, I'm really excited to have Josh on. Josh Markland is one of the co-founders of Second Family. Repum and Second Family have been in partnership for over a year now. We've had a lot of success out of the gate. And Josh, thank you so much for being on today. Why don't you just tell the audience real quickly your background and how you guys got started?
Yeah, I appreciate it, Nick. Thanks for having me on. Excited to be here. My cousin Chad and I are partners at Second Family. We started the business in 2012 based on an experience that our family had looking for senior home care for our grandmother. She had Alzheimer's and dementia, and it was about a 10-year process for her. She was healthy as a horse in her mid-90s, didn't take a single pill, but her mind was slowly deteriorating. And so it was Chad's mom actually that coordinated care out of the newspaper back then and kind of managed the care process. And it didn't go well. We ended up putting our grandmother in a facility for a period of time, and they just kind of drugged her up, and she sat in the corner and drooled on herself. And so obviously that wasn't sustainable. And so over a period of time, we kind of saw the ups and downs of what took place as she got care. And it was Chad who really was like, man, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so that's kind of where the idea for Second Family came from, solving some of the own problems that we had.
Yeah, that makes sense. And when we first met you guys, I think after the first meeting, we kind of started to realize that real quickly that you guys had created something different in the industry. So one of the first questions I have for you, when you think about Second Family and your industry in general, obviously senior care is a massive industry. In franchising in particular, it's been around for quite a while now with franchisors popping up probably 15, 20 years ago now. Mm-hmm. But the demand seems to continue to rise for obvious reasons. The adult population, the seniors in this country continues to rise with baby boomers going into the older generation. So how do you keep up with demand? What lifestyles have had to shift for you guys as a result of the demand? And how are you seeing Second Family kind of make sure that you can stay on the curve, but also manage the growing demand?
Yeah, it's a great point that the demographic shift in our country is something that we've never experienced before. In the year 2034, there will be more seniors over 65 than there will be kids 18 and under. And so that's an aging curve that our country has never had to solve for before. And I think that gives us some challenges, but it gives us some opportunities as well. You mentioned that a lot of the legacy brands that have been out there for a while started 15, 20, 25 years ago. And so we kind of are considering this Home Care 2.0 because there's a lot of new brands similar to Second Family that are coming in to try to meet that demand for our services. Obviously, it provides a caregiver challenge. And so part of what our process really focuses on is how do we attract caregivers? How do we build a caregiver culture that makes them want to stay? There's a finite pool of caregivers that we're all kind of jockeying for. But if you treat people right, if you use technology to help them and not replace them, it allows you to create a really good caregiver culture, which gives us plenty of bandwidth to be able to provide services for the demand that we have.
Yeah, that makes sense. And actually it leads to my next question, of which, you guys, we saw again early on in our due diligence that you're a technology-driven business, right? I think what I saw, and I've seen other senior care brands, and there's some great ones out there, right? But I didn't see as much of the tech platform as you guys had. And so while that's a positive to have that, right? And I think the candidates that have come in and purchased and become partners for you guys since we've joined have seen that. But how do you balance the human element of what's needed in this business with tech? Obviously, I'll point out too, AI is becoming such a big thing in every business. And obviously that is an interesting thing because, you're dealing with a demographic that, I always think about my mom. Like yesterday I was talking to her and she just got a new iPhone. Her first iPhone that she had before, I'm like, hey mom, what series did you have? And it was like series 4 or 5. I'm like, But that's my mom's 75 years old and now she's asking me how to use the new phone. You're dealing with a lot of individuals like that, right? And so they're not technology driven like maybe you or I are. Not that I feel like I'm a tech savvy person, but I know how to use the newer technology, right? So
Sure.
how do you feel that you guys handle that with, dealing with the older population as your customer?
So one of the main problems that we ran into kind of 15 years ago when our grandmother was getting care was a lack of transparency and a lack of reliability. Not necessarily the caregivers wouldn't show up, but they weren't reliable in knowing what to do when they were there. And so a lot of the technology we put in place from the very beginning was focused on solving those two problems, reliability and transparency. This is a business that it's a people first business. There's no AI robot. I know some people think the AI robots are going to care for us one day. I truly don't believe that. This is an industry where we're using technology to supplement the human aspect. So I'll give you two examples. On the caregiver side, we use AI technology on the caregiver applicant portion of our process. It allows the candidate to move through the process more quickly, that we can vet them, screen them, schedule them for an interview. That shortens the time to hire, which the caregivers love. When they apply, it's because they want to get a job, they want to start working, they want to start making money. So we're using it to supplement the process, not to replace the process. On the care delivery side, our families have access to a family portal. It shows very transparently what we did while we were there, what time we clocked in, what time we clocked out, what we did while we were working with grandma. All of that stuff is on the screen for them to see. But then we also assign them an RN care coordinator. So it's a registered nurse who's their singular point of contact. That nurse is going to manage the care process, manage the caregiver. She's a phone call away if the family's got any questions. So we're really trying to layer the technology on top of the human element to more robustly be able to provide for our caregivers and our clients' needs at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense. And again, I believe that's a big reason why you have such high remarks when it comes to client satisfaction. And, that's a big part of it, obviously. All right. So last question I have for you is, we talked about it earlier a little bit about how many senior care franchisors there are out there, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of brands out there, a lot of great companies that I've seen for years in this industry. But with that said, in kind of a crowded space, you've been able to come out of the gate since we've partnered with you guys and really had some great growth. And so what do you believe has made that feasible for you? One, but two, how do you believe you stood out and why you've stood out for candidates coming in and getting educated on why they want to be a partner with you versus every other brand that might be out there, while they might be great brands?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we're very clear on the package that we've put together, how it functions, and what role what role the franchise owner plays in that construct. And so we have attracted some very qualified, very talented people who have done amazing things in their prior careers. All of them interfaced with home care in some way, shape, or form. Not that that's a requirement, but I think that that's what plants that seed in their heart for wanting to be a part of this space and wanting to do something that helps other families who have experienced something like they have. And then we're very clear on what their role is going to be in the business, and that is to be the face of the business. Again, it's a very people-driven, people-first industry. Most families don't plan ahead. It's not like shopping for a car where you go online and you pick your make, model, trim, all that stuff ahead of time, months before you're ready to buy. Typically, there's an event. Grandma falls, she breaks her hip. She goes to the hospital. She goes from the hospital to short-term rehab. And then from short-term rehab, she gets discharged home. So we have a very clear process for our franchisees, how they can develop those referral relationships with people like the skilled nursing facility to be able to attract families who need care at that moment so that we're right there able to meet that need. So I think we've been very clear with our franchisees what their role is. They're excited about that. All of these folks want to be business builders. They want to be out in the community making relationships, but they also have a positive attitude, kind of a problem solving type approach. We're working with families who are at a difficult point in their lives. Nobody is in a great mood when mom needs home care for the first time. And so to be able to bring that joy, to bring that optimism, that our process is going to help you, family, to relieve some of the stress and bring some harmony back into your house again. And so we've been able to communicate that really clearly with our franchisees. They've picked up on what it is that we're trying to do, and they're all just running with it in phenomenal ways right now.
That's great. And well, thank you, Josh. I appreciate the insight today around what Second Family is doing, some differentiators, how you're keeping the human element involved in the process. And, a shameless plug for you and your great growth that we've seen since we've partnered with you. We've already awarded over 30 territories since partnering with Second Family, and we believe that 2026 is going to be another record year, way beyond that. And so, if you're in the field for looking for a business that you can care for people, you can obviously make a great opportunity for a great business in your income levels and, all the other things that you want to do. If you're sales oriented, those are the things we look for in candidates with this great brand. And the other thing is it's validating very well. Franchisees seem to be very happy. And obviously you'll get to do that through the process and talk to existing franchisees. But we're excited about where we're going. And Josh, thank you for coming on Item 24 today. And we look forward to continuing to partner with you and continuing to bring great candidates to you.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, it was a pleasure. Had a lot of fun. Appreciate you for having me on.
Yep. Thanks, Josh.